I'm Bob Dickie, and welcome to another episode of Taking the Leap podcast. Our guest today is Christine Assouad. Christine is the CEO of Dunkin Donuts Lebanon and Semson Lebanese Cuisine. She has been successfully growing and leading restaurant brands in the Middle East for over 27 years. She is also on the board of multiple food and beverage companies within the MENA region and provides business workshops at conferences in the UAE, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and Lebanon. Her work also includes business development, franchising, and acquisitions across the entire MENA market. Christine is passionate about supporting female entrepreneurship through Empowering Tribe. This is her community where she provides online classes, boot camps, and one-on-one CEO coaching to empower female entrepreneurs to achieve their full potential. Christine earned her Bachelor of Science degree in Nutrition and Dietetics from the American University of Beirut. She also received a Master of Science degree in Food Science from McGill University and a Master's in Marketing from ESA Business School. She is also a recent graduate of the Harvard Business School President's Program and is a distinguished member of the Young Presidents Organization, also known as YPO. I'm really excited to learn more from Christine and her journey leading various businesses, overcoming obstacles in her career, reinventing herself at the age of 47, mentoring next generation leaders, and her passion to spread a little happiness and joy in all that she does. I know you're going to be motivated and inspired to hear her story, so let's jump right in. Well, Christine, thank you so much for taking time to be with us this morning. Where are you dialing in from?
Thank you. I'm super happy to be here. I'm dialing in from Dubai.
Dubai, fantastic. Well, I tell you what, I was talking with a YPO member last night. We'll dive into, you may not know him. He's not part of our program, but he was looking you up online, and I was working on some questions and some things, and he's got some connection to Dunkin Donuts and the Paul Brown, who is the CEO of Dunkin Donuts. And he was looking at your resume. It's like, you know her? I was like, yeah, she's a really good friend of mine. She said, man alive, she has got an impressive resume. What an impressive. And he goes, let me text Paul Brown real quick and see if Paul knows her. And Paul was at, I think, a country club and having dinner, and he texted back. He's like, oh, yeah, I've met Christine multiple times. Super sweet, super impressive. Really like her a lot. So I'll tell you what, you know, the folks who were helping me with some of these questions last night, taking a look at your background and resume, know that you're a rock star, think very highly of you, and you've done some incredible things there within the MENA region. I can't wait to unpack a little bit of it.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this amazing introduction. I'm really looking forward to our conversation.
Well, you know, one of the things that I would love to start out with, there's so many things to unpack, but right now there's so much going on in the news, right? So we're seeing everything that's happening in the news. We're seeing all the headlines, but I'm curious, what is it like to be the CEO, running multiple organizations, leading groups of people, where you've got your business like right in the middle of all of the turmoil that's kind of going on? Can you unpack maybe a little bit and share with us your viewpoint, your perspectives? You've got boots on the ground there in the Middle East. This is home for you. This is family. What is it like right now, and what's it like running a business in this area? Any insights that you might be able to share?
Well, Lebanon has been going. My business is in Lebanon, even though I am based in Dubai, my primary business. And it's been very tough for the past 10 years, or we were actually counting for the past 20 years. We've been having crisis after crisis. So from one side, we know how to handle crisis. So whenever there is something going on, we directly know what to do and plan for everything that might happen so that we're not surprised. But with this particular war that is happening, it's very sad because you feel that you lost faith in humanity like people are dying on both sides, and it's very sad to see that the human life doesn't have any weight anymore. So this is what made it a bit more difficult, especially that now also a lot of the war is happening in the south of Lebanon. This is where I'm originally from. We hope it will end as fast as possible, and they will try to find something that makes sense for both parties.
Yeah, it really is a tragic series of events, and so many people on both sides are massively impacted. So you mentioned a second ago that you've been dealing with challenges and obstacles, adversity over the last 10 years, and it's kind of made you resolute and able to handle these issues when they come up. What could you share? What have you learned maybe in some of those as a female CEO in the region leading a company? You're dealing with adversity every single day. I think maybe some young entrepreneurs sometimes think, they go to business school and are like, oh, business is easy. I've got my business plan. I want to raise some capital. It's a bed of roses, and you're like, no, it's a grind. This is hard. What learnings can you share with people who are going to be facing adversity?
Well, first, it's not easy, but there are quite a few things that you can be working on, especially when facing adversity. And we had all kind of adversity. So financial crisis, our currency was divided by 1,000. We stopped counting. We had war, we had explosions, we have a revolution, like everything you can think of. And actually now I sit mostly on boards of F&B companies, and every time they are faced with a challenge, it's very easy for me because we've been through it. Like we've been through so many challenges that I'm yet to discover a challenge that we didn't have to face. So first is the mindset. That is very important, and understanding, remembering why we're in business. So focusing on the why, for example, for Dunkin in Lebanon, we're all about spreading happiness. So what we do, we're not selling donuts and coffee. We're making sure that when people leave the store, they are a bit happier than when they came in. So in times of crisis, our mission is even more important because people are going through so much. So for them, when they come to us, it's their happy place and their happy moment. And they are, and this is so important for our team because the team members also are going through so much. So when they come in, the first thing we do, actually, we write positive messages on the cups. And this was an idea from one of the team members. And what they said, it's like as if they are saying affirmation to themselves first. Like keep smiling, things related to coffee, to positive vibes, etc. So they spend the first hour writing messages. So for them, it puts them in the right mindset to be able to spread happiness. And second, for our customers, when they come in, like they are always waiting to see what kind of message they will have on their cup. So once you have your purpose very clear, for you and very well communicated for everyone. Like you can ask anyone out of all our team members, they will all know that we're spreading happiness. For me, this is the first thing to do when you're in a crisis, remembering why you're in business in the first place, and being more than in a business and focusing on the purpose and the impact you have around you. So this is one, and I can talk for hours on thinking of cash flow more than on P&L, having a list of what is essential and what is not essential, how to downsize without hurting the brand or without hurting the long term. So there are lots of little learnings that we had, but the most important, I would say, is to make sure that your mindset is at the right place.
Focusing on the mindset, helping the team be focused on the proper mindset. Yeah, it was interesting that you went immediately there and sharing and spreading happiness. I was going to ask you what it's like to lead a iconic brand like Dunkin in the Middle East right now, because as I was thinking about this last night, I was like, okay, if I'm in Beirut and I'm walking down the street and I'm wanting a cup of coffee, I'm local, do I want to go to an iconic institution like Dunkin' Donuts, or is there a place, my next door neighbor or a friend, a little local coffee shop or tea shop that I might want to have? So have you found leading brands like this, has it been easier, harder as it ebbs and flows? I mean, so how do you take an American brand like this and lead it in the Middle East?
Okay, first, we've been there for a long time. So I started the business almost 27 years ago. I was 2 years old, obviously.
Yes, that's right. I was wondering, how would you become a CEO at 2 years old? This is amazing. Youngest CEO ever.
So I started a long time ago, and from the beginning, we used to call it the smiling business. So we're not in the donut and coffee business; we're in the smiling business. So we've been really growing with our customers, and they consider that Dunkin is their happy place. So for a lot of people, Dunkin is not an American brand or a big iconic brand. It's a Lebanese institution, because this is where we were next to the university that they went to. We are next to their businesses. We are next to their home. We have around 40 points of sales everywhere. And we've been very focused on the purpose and the mission of spreading happiness. So now, of course, the situation now is very hard because of the economical situation, but also because of some boycott with what's happening. But we were the least impacted in the boycott because people consider us Lebanese. We are a Lebanese company with Lebanese employees, and we've been spreading happiness to their parents and to their kids. So we're really part of every community. And doing this in times, not in times of crisis, really helps you in times of crisis. So today it's definitely harder being an American company compared to a local company. And out of all the international coffee chains, we had 16 5 years ago. We're the only one standing. There's one more that is struggling. So, and I do believe it's because of our culture and because of the fact that we're focusing on our purpose, and we're not here to sell something, but to create an experience and to spread these positive vibes to our clients.
Well, it's a testament to you and your leadership and being there for, I think, 27 years, 30 years. I can kind of consider that multiple generations, right? Like you've got a couple of different generational groups there. And so you've become bedrock in the community. People have grown up. This is where they've had their happy family moments. They've gone on the weekends and places. And so this is part of the community. It's part of the fabric of the community. And when you invest that heavily into people, you build trust. And people trust you, your establishment. It's an amazing testament to what you've done as a leader.
Thank you. But it's also with the team, because you cannot do anything on your own. Especially when you are spread across Lebanon, we have an outstanding team of people that believe in our purpose. And we start from the hiring. Like when we hire someone, the first interview is to make sure that they are positive. So we call it the positivity test. So what made you smile this morning? What makes you happy? So this is the kind of question. And if someone tells you nothing, I hate my life, this is not someone that will join our team, even if they have the best possible resume. So having the right culture and the right team helped us in good moments, but mostly in crisis moments.
That's fascinating. You're selecting people, self-selecting individuals who are predisposed to happiness and already carry that DNA in them, and they're full of joy. They're exuding this.
You can teach them how to make a proper cup of coffee, but you cannot teach them to spread happiness. And it's difficult to spread happiness if you're not happy, or else it will be completely fake. And people know when it's a fake smile, or when people are genuinely happy to be here and make your day a little bit better.
Wow, and the world needs lots of happiness today, that is for sure. And I tell you what, there's nothing that makes me happier than a hot cup of coffee in the morning, right? Being able to sit down and relax. And so that...
And a hot munchkins. Like when I get to the office, I have a hot coffee, and I have specially made hot munchkins that are the best thing on planet Earth. And I've been having them for 27 years now.
That's wonderful. Well, when you talk about the culture of your team and helping people stay focused on the culture and spreading happiness, it reminds me that you're probably also sharing hope on a daily basis with your team members. Hope for a better future, hope for a better tomorrow, hope for better outcomes when there's obstacles in the way. So are there strategies or things that you use or things that you do? I mean, you're when I think of you as one of these individuals who's so authentic and very genuine. How does that come out in your leadership to provide hope for people, specifically your team, and as they're navigating challenging times?
You're absolutely right. First, they need to feel that we're here to stay. Like, as I said, we had 16 international coffee chain. There's only us left, so they need to feel that we're here for the long term and we're not here for a year or two, and we are. The second thing is we're still growing. Like, we are looking for location where we're growing, so that they see that there are opportunities for growth. A second thing that is important, and I'm sure you would share this as well, is this learning environment. I love to learn because I love to teach, and it's the same thing with the different levels. So we always have workshops. We always have things that are happening, so that people feel that even if the country is stuck, because the country has been stuck for a few years now, they are constantly learning and growing, so their mind does not go back. Because if you don't move forward, you go backward. And my biggest worry when this started is that I didn't want us to go backward and the world to keep moving forward. So eventually, when the situation will be better, we will become obsolete. So this is my nightmare. If you tell me what is the one thing that keeps you awake at night, I would say is not continuously growing and improving. So when the situation is better, we would be so exhausted that we won't be able to take advantage of the positive times. So this is something that we really focus on. So first, to give hope to the people, and they give it back to me as well. So when they show up, when they are smiling in spite of everything, when they are doing their job, where they are trying to always create new product, etc. So it's a two-way street. I get even more excited to open more store and to grow the business when I see their dedication to the business as well. So it would be mostly this growth mindset and the fact that we're all in this together, and we're learning together, and we're growing together. Now I'm doing, with YPO, we have all these AI workshops that are popping up. I'm becoming an AI trainer because I want to train my team so that we are at the forefront of technology, and not because we are in a crisis, we just decide that we are only in survival mode and we don't want to grow anymore. And this is the biggest mistake I've seen with companies in crisis. They are so focused on the crisis that they forget that they still need to grow and operate and improve and keep walking.
It's amazing how an individual who has a passion for education and personal development and growth and learning, how that can positively impact your mindset, your hope and optimism for the future. I don't know if I've got the words to be able to connect the dots between an individual who is not focused on education and self-improvement and an individual who does, but you're absolutely right. I mean, I've got stark examples in my life of two very different individuals, and it feels like anybody who is pursuing continued growth, self-development, education, they just have this like voracious appetite for life. They're excited about the future. Are there any insights there that you have? I mean, you unpacked that very beautifully, but I'm curious if, like, I'm assuming that the education that you're providing is not just, hey, here's how to make a better cup of coffee. Here's how to make, a better donut. It's all these other things, right?
We work on personal growth as well. We work on mental health. We did retreats on mental health because this is so important. We're constantly growing. We have a lot of our team members that we paid for their MBAs or their DBAs, because at the end of the day, I didn't want them to feel that they are stuck. Because this is how when people feel they are stuck, they cannot be happy at work. They cannot be the best version of themselves, etc. So even if the country, everybody, most of our customers are always sending me messages like, where are you living? What is this bubble? How are your people smiling? So it's just that we need to dissociate from the problems so that we can focus on what matters. And it's not only in my business. I also mentor. So I have a couple of hats, more than a couple, but so we have the Dunkin, and I sit on boards of F&B companies, and I also started mentoring a female leadership program. So I mentor female entrepreneurs in the Middle East, and now I do female leadership programs in the corporate world as well. Part of we have around 100 and something members in the program. We have around 2,000 people on our mailing list, and a lot of them are living in Lebanon. So getting them also to stay excited about their work, to remember to focus on their purpose, to try to work on this. So the impact has been on our company, but also when you work with entrepreneurs, you're not only impacting one person, you're impacting their whole ecosystem and their whole companies and their whole employees. So it's been happening, and we've been having amazing ripple effects that once you focus on your mindset and you have the right reason why you're in business and why you're doing what you're doing, even if the country is falling apart, you can still do something about it.
I love that. You use the word disassociate from maybe like the chaos or the things that are happening that are outside of your control. And then you're helping people come back in and be like, okay, what is your purpose? And then now let's work towards and focusing on the things that they can control. So they've got their purpose. They're focused on the things that they have agency over. And then that inspires people to have a hope for a brighter future. Be like, hey, the world may be in chaos or there may be obstacles around here, but here's how I am taking positive steps every single day to improve my life. And if I keep doing this, I know eventually I'm going to reach my dreams. I'm going to reach my goals, and I'm going to have a better life.
And eventually the cycle will turn. Unfortunately, in Lebanon, the cycle has been pretty long, but we still believe that, life is cycles. It's not going to stay in crisis forever. So eventually it's going to go up. And the strength is going to be when it goes up to be ready for the good times. Because if you're only in crisis mode, then when good times come, like you'll be lost, or you'll be too exhausted to be able to benefit from the good times. So we always have this good time that will come at some point in front of us, and we're shooting for this particular thing. And the good thing is that I saw this coming early on. So when the revolution started in Lebanon, I remember it was on a Thursday or Friday. Monday morning, I had a meeting with my team. I told them this is a 10 years crisis. They all thought I was crazy. Let's have a list of everything that might go wrong, and let's have plans for everything that might go wrong. I still have a picture of the board, and it's we put absolutely everything, and unfortunately, everything happened, but we were prepared for it. So preparation also is key. Like being, it was shocking for everyone the day we had the meeting, but then once we started putting plans, when things happen, we said, oh yeah, okay, we know how to react to this, And the same with the ladies that I was mentoring. Like we were doing crisis trainings and being ready for the different scenarios. So when this scenario hit, you're ready for it. And again, at the end, it's to stay sane and to be prepared to when the crisis is over.
That way you have a plan that you can execute. You don't have to worry in the moment. Be like, hey, we've already thought about this. Yeah, here's the checklist. We got 1, 2, 3. Here's what we got to do. This isn't shocking. We thought that this might happen, and here it is. There's so many different aspects of industry. When you have that checklist to go through, it makes a stressful situation a little less stressful. You're like, hey, we're prepared.
It's much better to think about all these when you are calm, sitting in the office, everything is fine. Then when you have bombs coming, or it's still stressful, obviously, but it's like half the stress because you already have the checklist on what to do. And again, the fact that the team also is showing up, is doing what they need to do to be able to still be standing, which is very hard today in Lebanon. Like for me, just being operational and still spreading happiness and still growing and still doing, in spite of everything that happened, is already something that I'm very proud of.
Yeah, it's a testament to the entire team, the entire organization, and quite frankly, in some respects, I almost consider it like a miracle. You're like, wow, we did this, right? And it's you did it through hard work and determination. Let me ask you a couple questions about running franchises. And so let's say you've got a young entrepreneur who's like, man, I want to grow up and I want to open franchises in this part of the world, and I want to do this type of thing. I'd love to understand how corporate helps and and through the life cycle, right? So you've been with Dunkin for a long time now, so you've seen various aspects of the life cycle of the company, of the brand. I think it was just a few years ago. Was it 2020? I think it was December 15th of 2020 where Inspire Brands bought Dunkin' Donuts in about $11.3 billion deal to take it private. So it was a public company previously, then it gets taken as a private company. Does that impact operations at all for you in MENA and in Lebanon? Is it, so tell me how do things change? And then I'd like to pull back the layer of the onion and understand, how corporate supports you and helps you in your role there in the Middle East.
So it's not the first time that Dunkin' goes public and comes back private and goes public and comes back private. So we've been through these cycles already. And Inspire is a great brand, and they've been really focused on making Dunkin' a really cool brand, and this is what's important to us, so what's important to us as franchisee, because we're operating, we know what to do. I don't think anyone could handle whatever is happening in Lebanon better than us. So it's not on the operational level where we need support. Where we really appreciate what's happening is creating new product, doing some amazing collabs with the influencers, like the Charli D'Amelio collab was an amazing impact on us. And now what they're doing with JLo and Ben Affleck, etc. So keeping the brand trendy, cool, relevant to today's world. This is what we want from the franchisor. The rest we know what to do. So and this is what I like about franchising. Like the franchisor does their thing, the franchisees do their things, and this is where it works well. And we also have a brand that is called Semson, which is Lebanese restaurants, and we are franchisors of Semson. So it's been interesting for the past years of being a franchisee of a brand, a franchisor of a brand, and seeing the world from both aspects. So for me, in franchising, there's no big secrets. It's mostly two things. First, the franchisee needs to make money. So making sure that the product and the service and the system and the business model works so that the franchisee makes money, because this is what will keep them growing, And the second, they need to feel that without the franchisor, it wouldn't have been as good. And this is what franchising is all about. So the two roles are very clear. The franchisee is operational, it's culture, it's day-to-day, it's execution, etc. The franchisor is more the strategy of the brand, the new product, the vibe, making sure it's still relevant and trendy. As you said, like we've been doing this for almost 3 decades, and you need to constantly evolve. You cannot just stay in the past. And this is something that Inspire is doing pretty well.
I was absolutely shocked at the Super Bowl commercial. I was like, it was amazing. I was laughing with my kids. I thought, this is so cool. And that was part of the conversation that came up last night as I was talking with a YPO member and a friend of mine, and he knew about the whole Ben Affleck JLo commercial, and one of his questions was like, I wonder how that works in MENA, right? Like is that or are there different like versions of commercials, advertisements that are made specifically for the different regions around the globe? So but how did that play out in MENA with your clientele?
It's what they are doing is building a strong brand and building a brand again that is relevant to today's consumers. Like the Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, JLo, having all these amazing people doing something fun and not taking themselves seriously and wearing all these outfits, like it connected with people. And this is what we need from a franchisor. Like, what was interesting is the Charli D'Amelio collab when they did the Charli drink a few years ago. This was like a game changer. because what happened is that she was able to touch so many people that were not our customers because they were younger than our customers. So we saw a spike in our sales because of this collaboration, because we had people that were 10 to 15 years old that started coming to our stores and asking for this particular drink and to try this iced caramel latte that she likes, etc. That were not our customers. So it's small things like this that can have an impact not only in the Middle East, across the world. So what we're looking from a franchisor is to really build a strong brand that can still be relevant to today's consumers across time, and then we can handle the rest.
Well, it must be happening, that type of collab and reaching the younger generation is happening, all around the globe. I'll give you a data point here in the U.S. My daughters, so I have 6 children. I have 3 girls who are still in, high school, middle school. And all of us, it was a few years ago, I just happened to notice that every time they wanted to go out or they're going out with their friends, they were always going to Dunkin'. And I never heard, my older daughter, who graduated from UT a few years ago, she was a big Starbucks girl, right? Loved Starbucks. The younger generation, it was like they were all going to Dunkin'. And one day I asked my girls, I'm like, well, what is it with Dunkin'? You guys you love going to Dunkin' Donuts. And you're like, oh, Dad, Starbucks isn't cool. That's not cool, right? It's like basically all the cool kids go to Dunkin' Donuts. It's like, and it was the hip, everybody. And I was like, okay, what's going on here? What have I missed? But there had to have been some type of, there's this marketing shift where it's like everybody wanted to go there.
And it was a shift because it wasn't always the case. We've been in Lebanon, we've always been cool. We've always focused on spreading happiness, etc. But it wasn't the case all the time. So sometimes one person can make a difference. When you have a new team that comes with a fresh perspective, with focusing on being relevant to today's consumers, they can change the vibes and the impact of a worldwide brand. So you come back to what you were talking about, leadership, and at the end of the day, when you have people that are still connected with the ground, with what's happening in the world, with today's consumer, and doing things that people can connect to. Because at the end of the day, you don't buy a product, it's a connection. You're going there because you can connect to the brand. You can feel that this brand represents me. And this is what they've been doing really well over the past 7 years.
It's awesome. Well, tell me a little bit about, so let's say you're a young person, let's say my daughter who just recently graduated from college is on her entrepreneurial journey, and she wakes up one morning and says, I think I want to go into franchising. How would you, what advice would you give her if she was looking? Obviously, you're very particular to the brands that you are very loyal to. But what advice would you give a young person who's looking at getting into this and to make sure that they're making a good decision for them? Now, you've already given a couple of data points that were very relevant, but I'm just curious if you have any other insights.
Well, I've mentored more than I stopped counting 200 or 300 female entrepreneurs so far, and the most important thing is to do something they love. So it's not the financials. It's first focusing, do you love this product? Do you love this brand? Do you connect with this brand? Is this something that, because it's not easy. Having a franchise, it's like opening your own business. The franchise will give you some tested business model and some brand equity. But at the end of the day, when we started Dunkin' in Lebanon, no one knew about Dunkin'. We did a survey, I'm talking 30 years ago, and 90% of people or something didn't know what Dunkin' was. 98% considered American coffee colored water. So it was, at the end of the day, you have tested business model and you have some things that are coming from the franchise, but this is a real business. You're going to be working 24/7. You're going to be all in. So it's not because it's a franchise, this means that it's easy. It could be easier to some extent, but it's still very hard. So you need to first choose something that you're passionate about, that you love, a product you love, and something that is in line with your values. Something that you love doing, that you can connect with. Second, obviously, or third, look at the financials, look at the numbers. The numbers need to make sense, and the team, because it's a marriage. Like, we've been married to Dunkin for 27 years now, and hopefully for a long time. And you need to make sure that the values of the brand, the values of the people, that might change along the way. Like, we saw a lot of shift in management across Dunkin, but the values are still the same. So it's a very personal choice. So it's not like go to this franchise. It needs to be something that you can connect with.
I've told my children to pick something that you would be doing anyways, even if you weren't getting paid for it, right? It's such a part of your life. You're so passionate about it that you love it. That it's like, even if you weren't being paid, it's like, man, I'd do this every single day.
Absolutely. So now I spend most of my time mentoring female leaders, whether in the corporate world or entrepreneurs. And exactly, like, my daughters always tell me that I never work, even though I'm working 10, 12, 15 hours a day, but I never work because I love what I do. So they don't feel it is work. And this new generation doesn't want to work. They want to, and today I'm going completely against this work-life balance kind of thing, because it's not work against life. Work is one part of life. And I'm happy to see that the generations of our kids are looking at their whole life. They don't want only to be successful at work. They want to be enjoying every part of their life. So one of the things I do with female leaders I mentor is we go through the wheel of life, looking at every aspect of the life, putting objectives for every aspect of your life, and then deciding which are the 2 or 3 aspects that you want to focus a bit more. Obviously, if you're starting your business, you're gonna be all in your business. Maybe you won't have enough time for friends and fun, but you know that it's there and it's just something temporary, and eventually you're gonna give it more time. So I feel with time, having a balanced life is becoming even more important for us and for this new generation that discovered that before us.
Yeah, well, I guess post-COVID, what we found out was that work, we had segmented our life into, okay, these are the hours of the day that I work. Here's my home life, right? And it feels like, post-2020, that all of it just kind of got blended together, people working from home. And it's like, there is, like you said, no work-life balance, but work is life, right? And people are doing it from home, and you now have this growing segment of the population who have learned to be like, you know what? I want to reorient my life. I want to do things differently. And so it's fascinating to see how companies are pivoting and adapting to that. And there's certain industries where, you can't work from home, but there's other industries where you can and kind of have a hybrid scenario. Are you finding the style of work and in MENA changing a little bit? Are you dealing with some of these dynamics?
Definitely. For example, just having, like, I do female leadership program for corporations that are big companies. Some of them have been here for years, big family business, billion-dollar companies, etc. The fact that they are focused on creating a better work environment for their females members, the fact that we talk about mindset and we talk about balancing your life, etc., it's becoming a priority for the companies, because they understood that if their members are happy with their life, they will be better performers at work. So it's not about like work against life, it's life. And more companies are understanding that creating better work environment can lead to better productivity, because like we've been talking about the soft skills a lot, but at the end of the day, you need to perform. And so all businesses are here to be able to hit their numbers and to grow and to be better. But when you work on these soft sides, you can improve your performance as well. And this is what a lot of companies in the Middle East and outside of the Middle East are focusing on now.
I tell you what, I'm really excited about the work that you're doing in terms of mentoring the next generation leaders and female leadership. And I know you've got an organization doing that. And as I was, doing some research, I mean, you're doing one-on-one coaching sessions, you're doing boot camps, you're doing conferences. Can you share with us how you were inspired to do this, and I'm thinking maybe in the back of my mind, maybe you had a conversation with one of our favorite professors at HBS, Boris Groysberg, because he is so passionate on that. He's developing a female entrepreneurship program at Harvard Business School, and so did you get some ideas, from our program, and what can companies do, leaders do, to help support the next generation? What do they need the most from us, from leadership today? How can we support them?
First, definitely YPO in general, and the Harvard program of YPO in particular have been life-changing. And Empowering Tribe, I always say these are for businesses to get them ready to get to YPO, because I think that it should be on the bucket list of any business, or at least on the businesses that want to scale. And today, Harvard, and I had a few discussions with, we had some emails back and forth with Professor Boris, who is my favorite all-time professor out of the 9 years, hands down. I was so sad that he was not on the last year and he wasn't at our graduation, but he had an impact, because every time I came back, whatever I was learning from him, I was applying to my business and automatically applying to all the ladies that I mentor. So actually this started around 10 years ago, when someone asked me to mentor, to get into a mentorship program, and it was a disaster, because I realized that the person in front of me had nothing to do with me. We didn't have the same values. But I saw the potential of working with someone that is 10 years younger, typically, and to give them some insights based on my experience, and to share my experience and my learning. So I started mentoring one-to-one, and then during COVID, one of the ladies that I was mentoring told me, why don't you give us a crisis management session on Zoom? So I put 10 ladies together, the 10 that I was mentoring at the time, and I saw the power of the community. So one-to-one mentoring is great, but when you put them together with like-minded people, when they see that they are not alone, when they see that other people are going through the struggles that they're going through, like, they became stronger together. So this is how the Empowering Tribe started, actually as a byproduct of COVID, and it's been phenomenal. So now what we do is, I have an online course with things that I've learned, and after that we do a one-to-one call, and then we have every other week we have guest speakers. We had a Harvard professor, LBS professor. Every time I go somewhere, I beg people to give us sessions, and a lot of them say yes. All my YPO friends were guest speakers as well. We had more than 50 guest speakers so far. Every other week, 90 minutes call and different topics. And then the third, we're doing in-person events now. We have 4 city tribes, a little bit like the chapters in YPO. Today we have Beirut, Amman, Muscat, and Dubai. We have 6 on the way. So every time we have more than 10 members in one city. They also do in-person meetings, forum-like meetings in small cities. So as you saw, a lot of YPO inspiration, but it's been so impactful, Bob. When you see how they start the program and 3 months later, feel there are different people, like their level of confidence, the way they talk about themselves, the way they talk about their business, like it's been such an amazing journey, and I can't wait to see this grow as well. I can't talk about it for hours, so you're gonna have to.
No, you can't. Please do. It's exciting for me. I know on my entrepreneurial journey that the times where it feels like the darkest storm clouds are on the horizon, and you're in this just tumultuous storm, the proverbial waves are crashing all around you. You just feel alone. You feel isolated. You feel like you're the only person going through something. And when somebody that you know and trust reaches out and says, "Hey, you know what? You're not the only person going through this. I've been there too." And what you mentioned a second ago is how that community where you can have a couple of people, and then there's that support network, and then you're sharing your hopes and your dreams. Maybe you're sharing your struggles, and you're shedding some tears. But then there's this group of people who come up alongside you, and be like, we can do this together. And I can just sense it in my own in my own mind's eye about that they feel, empowered and like, I can do this, because I've been there in my own journey, right? So tell me a little bit about maybe how mentorship has had an impact on your life. I would imagine that you've had great mentors, and throughout the course of your career, I can't imagine going through life without having like various mentors and coaches. And of course, we've had Basel on here talking about executive coaching and how powerful that can be. But can you share some of your experiences? And
So I've always had what I call guardian angels. So the first are definitely my parents, both of them different personalities, and each one of them gave me something, and I couldn't have done anything that I've done without the support of my father and my mother and my siblings and my family. So they were, and they still are, my first guardian angels. My grandfather also, like, he had such a positive mindset. Like, he passed away at 96 years old, and until the last day he was still going to work and still doing plans and planning trips, etc. So he gave me this also positive mindset and this joy of just being alive. So this was something. And then at work, throughout the Dunkin journey, I had a lot of people from the Dunkin system or company that were really supportive. I knew I could just knock any door, because Lebanon has been going through so much, and just having them understanding and helping out in the way they can. I started very young. I was 22 years old. I was just doing things, reading Finance for Dummies and Business for Dummies when at night, and without the support of everyone around me, of course, no one can thrive in life alone. So now I'm trying to be a guardian angel for a lot of women, and they are guardian angels for each others as well. Because I cannot be now, we have people in 20 different cities. I can be in 20 different cities, but they can be there for each others, whether in the difficult moment, they know they have someone they can call, but also to celebrate their successes. Because when you see other people succeeding, like, you say, okay, so this is someone that is similar to me. If she was able to do it, I can do it too. So it's the negative and the positive side of things. So I feel that mentoring has helped me a lot. And now, even as a mentor, and I still have mentee, I have 3 YPO friends that have been also, they are my sounding board when it comes to the Empowering Tribe. Every time I need something, I pick their brain. And without them, I wouldn't have been able to do what I do. It's in the support, but also in celebrating the positive side and enjoying every moment. Because, as you know, it's not about the end result. It's about the journey. Like, my mission is to empower 100,000 female leaders. It's not when I got to 100,000, I'll be happy. I'm happy every day we have a call, every day we have something happening, and it's about enjoying the journey and not only the end result. Again, I could talk about this for for hours. I'm completely passionate about it, and I'm very happy with the impact that we've been doing.
Well, I love talking with people who are passionate about things that they're doing in life. It's contagious, right? You can see it, and it motivates and inspires. And some of the greatest conversations we've had on this pod are people who are just so passionate.
There's one thing, because you asked something that I didn't answer, what companies can do. Because a lot of people are asking me about why only female. Why don't you do this for men and women, etc. And even companies. And my answer is always, for me in business, there's no difference. Like, men or women are the same. They both need to perform. They both need to create a nice culture. So the reason why it's important for companies to focus on their female leaders is that whether we like it or not, female go through different cycles. And today, when they are in a safe place where they can talk about things that are related to them only. We talk, when we are in group, we even talk of menopause. We talk about what do you do when you have small children? How do you manage your time and your energy when you want to still focus and be a great achiever and still be a great mom? So when you mentor men, it's mostly focused on business. But when you mentor female, it's the whole life and the whole family is affected. So I'm so grateful for so many businesses in Dubai and in Saudi that are taking the time and the budget to be able to create these safe spaces for their female leaders to be able to be happier, get better, and perform better ultimately at their job as well. So when we're talking about soft skills, when we're talking about the different topics that we're talking about, we always have an angle that is different for men. Even now for YPO, for example, like the limit is 45 years old for men to join YPO. It's 55 for females because there is this 10 years where people are focusing more on their family and then they can accelerate it later. So the cycle of women in business is a bit different. So for companies to realize this and create the support they need to be able to do both, to be great moms and to be great leaders, I think this is something that a lot of companies are focusing on now.
Do you think there's a difference between a female leader and a male leader giving mentorship and leadership to a female? Is there a difference because you have shared experience? Maybe you have some insights that maybe, let's say me, for example, that I might not have. So that would be part one. And then part two would be for your male friends, right? Your male YPO colleagues, your HBS classmates who are like, oh, Christine, you're doing an amazing job. And I want to make sure that I'm doing a good job in my business, mentoring, female leaders. Is there specific advice that you would give men and say, hey, I would recommend that you do this, don't do this, maybe phrase your words a certain way, or I don't know, how would you empower your male colleagues to say, here's how you can do your best job mentoring?
I love these questions. Thank you. Thank you for asking them. First, I don't think there's a difference as managers or as leaders. At the end, it's the personality, it's the person, it's about performance, behavior, creating culture, everything that we talked about. And I'm not necessarily with like quotas or whatever. At the end of the day, if you have two people, you're choosing the best person for the job. Yep. Okay, so I'm fully focused on this. However, women have kids, are pregnant for 9 months, have very young kids, and it's whether we like it or not. And nowadays, men are much more involved in the education. I can see from my brothers, they are much more involved in the education of their kids. But still, you have the time where the kids are young before they go to kindergarten and to school, that the mom needs to be present more. So what I've seen work in companies is first creating policies that take this into account. Because when someone understands that people are okay that she has to leave at 5 because she needs to go to her kids, that from 5 to 8 no one calls her because she needs to focus on her family, and not thrown upon, oh, you're leaving at 5, we are stuck till 6 or whatever. Or so on, putting policies in place that can help moms, especially young moms, to feel safe that they are being moms, they will work 10 times more than when they are working. And I've seen it, and statistics show it. I was looking at statistic on toxic people and bullyism at work. You know that when people are bullied at work, they unintentionally and sometimes intentionally decrease their productivity by 50%. So, and you see what I mean? So if you give people a safe space, whether men and women, but women have sometimes specific requirements, and the right policies so that they feel safe to be great moms, and they will be 10 times better managers if you do so. So this is what I'm telling my male friends: work on your policies during pregnancies, when the kids are young, if you have a big organization, having nurseries at the office, giving them the flexibility to check on their kids from time to time, whatever works for your organization, and you will feel a better impact for your company and for the community at large. And second, creating this support group where people can reach out to each other. So this happened to me. How do you feel I could, what is your shared experience? A little bit like YPO forums. So what we're setting up in these companies are mini forums for females so that they have a network that can support them as well. Because they cannot have this after work drink because they need to be with their kids. So these are the little things that CEOs could do to create better work environment for their female leaders. And I can assure you that they will have better performance when they do that.
And one of the things that I've noticed is that you highlight very appropriately the policies, which are, to give latitude and flexibility for individuals. And it may not just be women. There may be, multiple different groups that, need some flexibility for various things in their life.
You have single dads as well. So it's not only women, but taking people's life, again, where we started, it's not about work versus life. This is your life. How can I make your work an amazing part of your life by helping you create a balanced life?
And then I think it's also the leader's responsibility to share the expectations with the team or explain it to the team so that you don't have people standing by the water cooler and be like, oh, well, why does this person get to go home every day at 5 o'clock and I'm still sitting here working? The manager, the leader will be like, well, yeah, but you don't understand that individual's going home at taking care of business, and then they're dialing in remotely at night, working 3 or 4 more hours at night that you don't know about, right? So you can also a leader can create a culture and environment of support and understanding amongst all team members, so there isn't kind of like the side water cooler talk or maybe a little finger pointing, right?
Absolutely. And it takes one amazing leader, one person, and either the leader, which is usually the CEO or the head of the department, to actually push positive behavior or push negative behaviors. And this is the responsibility of everybody to help, whether all parents, if we we don't want only to talk about women, all parents to be able to become better parents, and they will become better managers.
I want to ask you a different question here for 2 different sets of people. This has been a phenomenal conversation. There's so much gold here for folks that are going to be listening in from all over the world. But I'd love to get your advice. Let's say that you've come back to a college campus somewhere and you've got 2 different groups of people on this campus that are graduating. You've got a young group of people, they're in their early 20s and they're starting out in their career and they're asking you for some advice. What are some things that you've learned in your journey and to motivate and inspire them? And then there's another group of people. There's a group of people who, and in our program, we talked about this, all across the globe, how the world is changing so rapidly and we have to constantly reinvent ourselves. And we know that there's a large percentage of the global population that are mid-career. They might be in their 40s or their 50s, and their industry has radically changed. AI has disrupted things, or manufacturing, retail, you name it. They've been displaced, and they're now in this spot of, man, I'm a little bit worried. I've got to completely reinvent myself. I've got to start a brand new career, and I'm 45, I'm 50, I'm 55. What advice would you give that group of people? And say the things that you've learned in your life to motivate and inspire and provide some hope from them. And the thing that I love about you right now is that behind you, you've got this beautiful painting and it's this collage of all these beautiful colors and various things. And 2 key words that I see there is hope and dream. So you're inspiring hopes and dreams in these 2 sets of very different people. What would you say?
I love your questions. Really, really, really nice. I'm enjoying this much more than I thought I would. I knew I would enjoy it, but not that much. First, for the 20 years old, first do something that you love. And it's okay if you don't know and you change, and you don't need to have everything figured out, and set your boundaries. What are the things that you're okay with? And what are the things that are important to you? Again, I love this wheel of life exercises and putting a vision for every part of your life and start saying, okay, this is how I want my life when I'll be 90 years old. This is how I picture how I'm going to describe my life to my kids. And this can change. And it's okay if it's in. So just follow your heart, do something that you love and work, because like you're going to need to work hard and to be flexible and adaptable, but just follow your heart. Have a clarity of what are your values, what is important to you, and stick to those. Everything else can change. For the 40 years old or 45 years old, I want to share a personal experience. And you know what happened in Lebanon a few years ago after the explosion? Personally, I got a divorce that was a difficult divorce. We lost all the money in the bank. So money literally disappeared. My income was divided by 20 or even more. So it was a very difficult situation. And then the explosion happened in Beirut. I knew that it will take time for Lebanon to recover from everything. And I'm a single mom with two daughters that were in their last years of high school. So I knew that if I stay in Lebanon, I wouldn't be able to provide them with the best education. And this is something very important to me. So I was 47 years old when I moved to Dubai, didn't know anyone in Dubai, didn't have a job or an income. I had enough money for 6 months. And it was very hard. Because at 47, like you felt like I had everything figured out. I had money on the side for their education, and like I thought everything was done. Like I felt I was done in my career, and I wanted to enjoy life. And then at 47, I started over. Okay, and the most important thing is the mindset. And this is where I bumped into Tony Robbins actually unleashed the power within. They were doing it remotely, and this really helped me put my mindset. Strongly recommended to everyone. It's 4 days. The first 2 days are amazing. The second 2 days not as much, but the first 2 days were mind blowing, and it really helped me put my mindset in the right place. I knew I could do it. I didn't know what I would do. I didn't know I will be doing workshops and sitting on boards and doing things, And what I do today, if you look at my life today, it's very different than my life 10 years ago. Like less than 10 years, 7 years ago, I was married in Lebanon, living a comfortable life with Dunkin and Semson, and very happy with what I was doing. Today, I'm living in Dubai. My daughters are at university, so I'm living alone. I'm sitting on boards. I'm mentoring female leaders. I'm doing workshops and inspiring. It's a completely different life. So it's never too late to do something. And as long as you firmly believe that you can do it, you have clarity of what you want, and most importantly, what you don't want, just surrender and follow the flow. And one more thing I would say is there's a book that a Harvard professor wrote, Arthur Brooks, From Strengths to Strengths. Anyone above 45 years old needs to read it, because we have two types of intelligence. One goes down as a 40, another one goes up. Understanding the difference between the two and recognizing what your strengths become. Because now I can give workshops. 10 years ago, I don't think I could have given workshop in the same manner. I don't think I could have summarized concept in the same way. So this is also something that I would recommend people to read, From Strengths to Strengths. So it's not too late. We're going to live to 100 years old. I have a 100 years plan. So my plan is to live to 100 years old. I'm 50 now, so I'm halfway. We still have a long way to go. So it's never too late. And 45 or 47 or 50 is not too late. Just do something that you're passionate about that might be different than what you were doing. And believe in God and the universe and just do it.
Wow.
This is what I would say.
You need to give that commencement address all over the world. That's exactly what people need to hear. And I thank you so much for being transparent and authentic. Very YPO of you. to share, the challenges that you've gone through, and how you've come out on the other side, and where you are in life. I think there's so often in life we see people that we admire and respect, and I've got so many of those people in my life, and I'm like, man, when I grow up, I want to be just like her, or I want to be just like him. And it looks at times from the outside, it can look like it's just been this very easy journey. And when you get to know a person, when you get to know a leader, and they share with you really that what their journey has been. I've never met somebody who hasn't gone through, a whole series of hardships, failures, setbacks, disappointments, obstacles. And, when you talk to a person, and those are those moments in life where they grow, they get stronger. And one of the things I've also found is it's also in those deepest, darkest moments when you feel like the world is just caving in on you, that's where where the seeds of your greatest victories are being planted. And you don't see it at the time, but you're learning and you're growing, and you're being prepared, and then somehow down the road you're like, wow, that was during that moment was the seed of my greatest victory was being planted. I wasn't realizing it, and you certainly gave some hope and motivation, just like your picture on the wall there, dreams and hope. And Christine, we've got maybe two final questions for you. You've mentioned a couple of good books. You've mentioned a resource with Tony Robbins. Are there any other books or resources that you have found helpful in your journey, or something that you've read recently that you'd say that you would recommend? You mentioned Arthur Brooks, but I want to make sure that we've got anything else that you might want to recommend, or.
Like now, what I've been focused on a lot is on the mindset. I've taken dozens of mindset related. It started with Tony Robbins, and since I've been taking lots of Mind Valley workshops, there are so many things that you can do to tune your mindset certain ways, and it can be the best driver or the worst driver of your life, because what you say to yourself is what's going to control your life. So the more you are aware of it, because we're talking to ourselves constantly. So just being aware, having this awareness can help. So I would definitely recommend the Mind Valley. There are quite a few programs in there that were very interesting. Now I'm starting a book on the. I forgot the name of the book, but it's mostly on money and how the psychology of money. That's the name of the book. Because also this is interesting. Like for me now, money is energy. It's like anything else. It's not something that I want to accumulate, but it's something that comes, you use, it goes back, and it's cycles. So this is also an interesting concept. So there are it's mostly mindset related. This is where I'm really focused, and AI related. Like I'm going all in on this AI tools, testing tools, working. ChatGPT is my best friend, and I'm doing Adi's. I did Adi's workshop twice. He did it for the Empowering Tribe ladies as well. We're doing for the retail network. I'm not sure if you're part of the retail network. We're doing a full AI program for YPO. So I would say mindset and AI are the two things that I strongly recommend everyone to focus on.
And did I hear you correctly? Is this an online mind shop or mindset work that someone can look at? I want to make sure to put it in the show notes.
Yes, it's called Mind Valley. It's
Mind
an
Valley.
app.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an app, and they have multiple workshops that you would take online, like master classes.
Okay.
And some of them are extremely powerful. Like you would put whatever your interest in. I've done a lot of the mindset related one. They have something called Lifebook on just creating a vision for every part of your life. This is something I've done. I've done the manifestation workshop that is phenomenal. The Silva method, plenty of mindset related work that is very, very insightful. At the end of the day, you take what you want from all these workshops, and some can be very powerful tools.
Well, I can't wait to put those in the show notes. I'm sure those are going to be a blessing to everybody who utilizes them. My final question, this is, I've contextualized this question depending on where the person is in the globe. So I'm going to change it ever so slightly for you, coming from the MENA region. But let's pretend you were in New York, and you were invited to the UN to give a speech that was going to be seen by the entire globe. And the individual who was asking you to get up there and get in front of the microphone and give this speech, you just had a few minutes to address the global population. And they said, you know what, Christine, we just feel like the folks in the world need a thought, something to motivate and encourage them, to inspire them for a better future. What would you say to that global audience if you had that opportunity?
Wow, so many things. I will definitely talk about humanity and remembering that all humans are humans, irrelevant where they were born or the color of their skin. And I feel this is something that the world is losing to some extent these days. I will talk about the education system, that we need to talk about mindset and the power of the brain and the way we talk to ourselves for kids. Like, we don't need to wait until we're 45 or 47 to figure that one out. And I would we talk a lot about AI, but also on what AI does not do and what are the things that are the big difference between humans and AI as well. So this would be maybe the 3 topics that I will focus on.
That would be that. Well, that's a perfect way to end this segment of our show. And I just want to say, Christine, thank you so much for taking time to be with us today. I've gotten to know you over the years, and our classmates have such great respect and love and admiration for you. I got to watch as you navigated some of those challenges. I saw that you were on the front lines during that horrific explosion in Beirut, and what happened, and that port there, and you were literally on the front lines, giving encouragement to people, asking for support, rallying support from our classmates in YPO. You've always been a person who has a degree of optimism and hope for the future. You have big dreams, and I am so motivated and inspired by you to do a better job as a leader in my own role, in my own company, with my family, to mentor the next generation, and to figure out a way. I am going to think today about how I can take a play out of your playbook and figure out a way to spread a little bit more happiness with my job, my company, and my people. And so I just want to let you know how much I greatly respect and admire you. And your words have been encouraging to me, and I know they're going to be encouraging to so many other people who listen to this. And so thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for doing this. It's been such a pleasure reconnecting and sharing my story. I loved your questions. I loved how you directed the discussion to get so many topics covered. So thank you for everything you do, and I cannot wait to see you in person very, very soon, maybe in Dubai. You never know.
I need to get there. I have not been to Dubai. I've got now a number of friends, and so I need to do it.
The Global Business Summit of YPO in November in Dubai. Maybe this could be a reason.
Oh, thank you for reminding me. All right. Okay. I'm gonna have to put some plans in place. There you go. Well, Christine, maybe I will see you in Dubai here in November, but blessings, my friend, and thank you so much for your leadership, your wisdom, and how you're motivating and inspiring the world.
Thank you. Thank you so much for an amazing talk. Have a super lovely day.
You as well. Today's episode was engineered by Mitch White with graphic and marketing by my daughter, Tristan White. Special thanks to Christine for taking time with us to share her insights that she has gained on her entrepreneurial journey. Make sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, or if you're an Android user, check us out on Spotify or wherever you go to listen to your favorite pods. If you like the show, please share it with a friend and give us a review. That is always appreciated. We look forward to spending time with you once again next week. And you know what? Do us a favor. Be a little more like Christine and look for ways to spread a little extra happiness and joy in the world today. We'll see you next week.